In the 1890s, my grandfather, my father's father, he decided that he wanted to go to America. He lived in Ireland. He had been raised there. And he wanted to see his big brother, Will. And he was 16. So his parents had to make a decision. They already lost their oldest son to America, and now they're going to lose the next oldest to America. But what could they do? They took him to the ship and pushed him off and let him go. Well, many, many, many years passed, and now it was the late 1970s, and the early 1970s. And my father, this man who had been pushed by his parents and let go of, had a son who had a daughter. And my father, Richard, that man's son, he and my mother realized that their marriage wasn't going to work. And he had to leave and let me go. Now, of course, he saw me twice a week, every week, my entire life. But the pain of walking out of that house and letting me go when I was a little girl, and my daughter was even a littler girl, I wonder if that compares to that letting go of his grandparents to his father. Because of both of those pushings and letting go, those aspects of doing that, another man came into my life, my stepfather. And my stepfather, Bob, he was there just like my father when I was growing up. And when I was 6 and I was learning to ride a bike, the day came that he took off the training wheels. And I got on that yellow bike, and my heart was racing. And he had to push and let me go. And then I went to college, and I wasn't that far away. I lived in Baltimore, and it was University of Maryland, College Park, about a 45-minute drive. So that wasn't so hard. But then my junior year, I decided I wanted to go to South Dakota State in Brookings for a semester. And we flew out to South Dakota, and we drove across the whole state to Rapid City and the Badlands, and then came back to the eastern part of South Dakota where the university was. And one of the first times ever I saw my stepfather crying as he pushed and let me go. And then I came back to Maryland, and I moved a year and a half later after graduating from the University of Maryland to St. Paul, Minnesota, where I had friends from South Dakota State. And this time it was my father, the son of that 16-year-old boy whose parents had let him go. And it was my father who came to take me home after living in Minnesota for 5 years. And he brought me home. And when he brought me home, I was 27 years old. And there he was, and there was my stepfather. And all these people, and my mother and my stepmother have been in my life ever since. But they had to let me go, all of them, when I met the most wonderful man in my life, my husband. Thank you.